Shalom. Call halal, YAHAWASHI, BaHa QADASH. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Aquaf that are listening and learning, to you I say shalom. This is your brother MALCHAAMAH from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And the Israelite foreigners are the scattered Israelites that are among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations. All right. The Israelites consist of the so-called natives to the Americas, the Hispanics, and the Negroes. As you can see on this, it says something about the Israelites. Blacks are not Indians. The land of Canaan is not Africa. Well, I don't know what's going on with that right there. But a couple of brothers have been going in on this topic, and Israel is above Africa. All right, they're not the same place. They're very close, right next to each other, right on top of each other. And both regions were full of dark people. All right, the land above Israel going into the land of Canaan, even though that wasn't a part of Africa, Africans occupied, dark people occupied that area, all right, and also all the way up into Asia Minor, that whole region, over in Jordan, that whole region was all dark. As a matter of fact, the whole world was dark, except for Esau, Edom. They were the only pale people that were running around. So all people were melanated, as so-called black people. So this isn't a color thing; it's a bloodline thing. And the Africans are a different dark race than the Negroes. Let me grab the Young's Bible Dictionary and the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. And this is a video that was done by Elder Yashawamba, and he focuses, which I highly suggest that you go and watch it and be edified. But he kind of focuses mainly on the point. Now my mind is going blank. But he focuses on a couple different points. Point I'm going to focus on is the Japhetic part. All right. But before I get to that, I'm just gonna touch on this just for a second. Because Japhet is not mentioned in end-day prophecy at all. All right, there's no prophecy in the Bible that says that Japhet would enslave Jacob and treat Jacob bad. And there's no prophecy, no scripture to substantiate that claim. And that's this man, I believe, and he never looks you square in the face. Even he never really looks at the camera. He always glancing and looking away. I've left comments on videos that he's done years ago, and just a couple years ago he popped up out of nowhere, and personally I believe this guy is a hireling for Esau, and that's why he was able to go on Amazon, have Jeff Bezos and have a Hollywood type production and make a movie documentary, because they're not going to allow us to do that, because we're going to give you the truth. This guy's giving you confusion, and Esau backs him. So what Esau is trying to do is they're literally trying to stifle the prophecy of the awakening. Because see, what you have to understand, part of that awakening happened, and from what I see, the Lord woke up the prophets first to go out on the highways and byways, because the scriptures said, before I get these definitions, let me go to these scriptures. The scriptures said you would see your teachers, all right, that they would actually be on the highways and byways in season and out of season. Could someone please show me a video going back to 2007 or earlier of this man on the highways and byways in season and out of season, in the cold, in the heat, in the rain, in the snow, teaching the gospel of the Lord, making his body a living sacrifice? He hasn't done that, but yet all of a sudden he's this big vocal, elder and high-ranking person in Israel all of a sudden, right? When he has no works. All right, faith without works is dead. But let's go to Luke. Let's go to the book of Luke, 14 and 23. And it reads, "And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and the hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled." So we're literally supposed to go out and teach the gospel of the Lord on the highways and byways in the chief concourse. All right. It says wisdom out of his voice there, you know, and the chief concourse means a great market, a great place of gathering, man. Okay. This is Isaiah 30 and 20, and it reads, and though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. So, you know, we've been teaching Israel. We saw our teachers. We saw the elders and apostles when they went on, you know, when they started putting up the videos on the YouTube in 2007. And speaking of that time frame, I'm calling out to all my constituents, all my fellow laborers that came in around that time, that first part of the awakening. All right, all the brothers who are camp heads and elder brothers in camps, you know, that are veterans now in this thing, you know, to all, make videos on this guy, man, expose this guy. All right, because I believe this guy's an agent. You know, and when he was talking in this portion, I'm not even going to play him. But when he was talking right here, he sounded just like vocab. And I'm willing to bet that if you dig deep enough, I wouldn't be shocked if you find this guy have sat down and spent time with vocab. All right, because when he was speaking, the way he was trying to give rebuttal to the doctrine, he sounded just like vocab, man. Okay, but this is Acts 18 and 2, real quick. Then I'm going to go back to those definitions. The book of Acts 18 and 2. And it reads, I start at verse 1. And after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth. Okay? And found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, and his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had commanded all the Jews depart from Rome, and came unto them. This scripture can be found in secular history, and you will find that Claudius made all the Jews leave Rome because of aggressive street teaching. They were having camps. They were waking up and they were preaching the coming of the kingdom of the Lord, and for their people to return unto their ways and to return unto the law, statutes, and commandments, and that the kingdom of heaven was at hand. And they were causing an uproar. Why? Because Claudius wanted the Hellenist, the Hellenista, the Greek-speaking Jews, the Jews who had conformed to the Greekish fashion and the Greekish way of life to remain that way. Same thing that Esau is doing today, which is why he was allowed. Jeff Bezos faced no criticism at all. You know, there was a joke that Dave Chappelle said Kanye got in so much trouble that Kyrie got in trouble. And all Kyrie did was post his video. He didn't say nothing. Yeah, he got slipped. But, this was a big mistake, because now the flip side of it is that's what Esau does. He gives you truth, but then he gives you a bunch of lies. So, yes, we are the Israelites. Yes, we were in Africa, but that's not our home, and that's not where we were from. And why anyone would teach it, go back there. All right? The Lord said, the prophecy says we're going back to Israel. This man is teaching go back to Africa. All right? The scripture says that Israel is the mother of us all, not Africa. All life started there. That was the heart of the Garden of Eden, was where Israel was, not Africa. And Africa is the land of Ham. All right, let me see if I can find it. I know that's in Galatians. It's either in Galatians 4 or... Yeah, Galatians 4 and 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So if you didn't woke up to the fact that you're an Israelite, Israel is the mother of us all, not Africa. This guy is a liar and a false prophet. And like I said, I do believe that he's a hireling for Esau, hired to be controlled opposition. All right? They wanted this out there. Okay. So what I believe what they were trying to do is that they see the awakening happening, and what Esau is trying to do is control it. Okay. But let's clarify something else too. We can go into this definition of Ham real quick. All right. This is from the Young's Bible Dictionary. Okay. Page 255 at the bottom starts the definition of Ham, and it reads, a son of and father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. See further on each of these four. While they may all have been dark-skinned, they were not the forefathers of the Negroid races, but rather the people associated with Egypt, all right, and the continent of Africa and the Egyptians, though Canaan and thought of Canaan as one of their provinces even into the very latter time. So even though Canaan is not in Africa, it's above Africa, all right, they still looked at that land as their own. All right, and so it's just like when you look at the definition of Semitism or Semitic, they lie in that definition because they add the Ethiopians into that, and the Ethiopians are sons of Ham, and Ham, the land of Ham, was actually called that. That was a brother. I'm trying to remember who it was. One of the brothers just was having a conversation with four brothers from Africa. I know a couple of them were Nigerians. More than likely, they were actually Israelites. But he was having a conversation with these Nigerians and these men from Africa, four of them, and he asked them, "Hey, what was Africa called before it was called Africa?" And they all said it was called the land of Ham. So let's read this other definition of Ham. This is from the Zondervan's Dictionary Bible. All right, let's bring it into focus. It says, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right. So Canaanites, the land of Canaan, the Canaanites, even though they were not in Africa, the land of Canaan was full of Hamites. The Ethiopians are not Semitic; they're Hamitic. So those Philistine Jews, they're false. They're Hamites. They're Africans. Okay? So let's get that out the way. Now let's get to this Japhet thing. All right? Let's look at some pictures of the ancient Minoans. All right? These are ancient Minoans right here, man, that you're looking at right there. Let's focus on them. Those are ancient Minoans. So we're going to go to the actual artifacts that are still there on the walls and the caves. All right. Those are your actual Greeks. Those are the people that Alexander of Macedonia, who actually an Edomite, took over. All right. Esau got pushed out of his land. All right. Esau pushed Japhet out of his land and took it over. Let's look at some more images of Japhetic people. All right. These are faded up. But here we go. Japhetic men. And you'll find in art that often Japhet always painted their women pale for whatever reason, but they weren't. But there you go. These are Japhetic men. Okay? You can't get around this stuff. I've got tons and tons of books of this stuff. All right? So they're liars, and what you have to understand, as a matter of fact, let me go back to that and let's read some scripture. Okay? All right, so let's go into the book of Maccabees. Okay? So we're going to go to the book of Maccabees, First Maccabees, and get a little biblical and secular history, because this history is also found in secular history. All right? And it's just so ironic, a coincidence, how Esau removes everything from the Bible to hide, to cover up and protect his lies. But this is First Maccabees 1:1, and it reads, and it happened after that Alexander the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius the king of the Persian Medes, that had reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So in his stead, in his race, in his stock. Let's look up that word stock. This is the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedic Edition with biblical references. Let's let that come into focus. 1933. Let's look up stock. See what the Winston has to say. Because he was the first in his stock, which literally means his race. Stock. Wow, here we go. All right, even got scriptures written there. But you can, let's let it come into focus. Peep the fifth definition. Race, family, or relationship, also origin or source. The founder of a family. Okay? So he was the first in his stock, all right, to reign over Greece. You know what? I'm curious as why I got that scripture written there. That First Maccabees 12 and 21. Let me just peek it. Oh, and I found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and the Jews are brethren, and that they are the stock of Abraham. The Lacedaemonians will be who you call the Spartans. All right. So that's another reason why they hid it, because they had separate. Hollywood has gave you a different thing about who the Jews were, who the Maccabees were, and then Hollywood has promoted that the Spartans are Japhetic or so-called white people. But the Bible lets you know that the Spartans, the Lacedaemonians, all right, were actually Jews. So that creates a controversy. With all the money they made off 300, you know, and you know what's, well, we know who made the money off of it, but you know, the Jewish people get no credit for that, you know. So it just goes to show you how much of a liar these people are, and all the confusion that they bring. Okay. Also, let's go to the book of Psalms. This is Psalms 83. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 6 and see if there's any mention of Japhet here. All right. Because like I said, there's no prophecy that Japhet would, and the Bible tells you clearly that Edom would be ruling when the Lord comes back. Psalm 63. So he didn't say he's coming back to a world ruled by Japhet. He said he's coming back to a world ruled by Edom. So there's a disconnect here. All right. But this is Psalms 83 and 1. And it says, keep not thy silence, O God, and hold not thy peace. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So, and these are all going to be mostly Shemitic races and Hamitic races. All right. And it says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have made crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The Israelites are the Lord's people, and they're the hidden ones. Because, why? They got separated from their heritage, just as prophecy said they would. They wouldn't know who they were. So they've been hidden. The Bible also tells you that another people will be masquerading, that they are the people of the Lord, and that they will be exposed. See, that's the time that we're in. But let us continue. They have said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles, meaning the stock of, the race, the family of Edom. So the houses of Edom, all so-called white people that are actually white, that don't have forefathers that are of another nation. That same goes for the rest of the names that I'm about to mention. The Edomites are Shemitic, all right? The Ishmaelites, also Shemitic, sons of Abraham. So are the Edomites, all right? Of Moab, all right? Moab are the so-called Chinese. Those are the sons of Lot, also Shemitic. Of the Hagarenes, those are more Ishmaelites, sons of Hagar, all right? And Gabal, more Ishmaelites, all right? All these people are Shemitic that we so far. And Ammon, the Japanese, also sons of Lot, that became a nation, also Shemitic. And Amalek, the first of the nations that the Lord would have war with from generation to generation, which is why YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, or Yehoshua, or Yeshua, or all these other names that they call him, which are wrong, he's coming back to a world ruled by Esau, headed by Amalek. Amalek, he has war with them from generation to generation. All right, and it says the Philistines, all right, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Actual Philistines, those go back to Palestine. And Palestine was full of what? Canaanites. And so was Tyre. And Tyre is also Hamitic. And I'm not 100% sure if Tyre was in the land of Canaan or if they were down in Africa. But nevertheless, they're still Hamitic. Those are Hamites. So the enemies of the Lord were Ham and Shemitic races, Semitic races. All right? There's different stocks of Shem. But there's only one chosen, the Israelites. Okay? Now let's look up some definitions. All right? And the first one is, because I have an article here. This is probably going to end up being a two-part video. I have an article that I'm going to read before I read those definitions. And this is it was written by, what's my man's name? Benjamin Franklin. Okay? So, this was a book that he wrote in the 1700s. All right? And I'm going to go to the last two paragraphs, because this is a long read. It's not a long read, but there's no way I'd have time to read it, because I think I get about 26 minutes before the camera just cuts off, and so that means I have 3 minutes left. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cut it here, and then I'm just going to start it again. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, BaHa, YAHAWASHI, BaHa, QADASH, and see you in part 2. Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Call halal, Yahawah, BaHa, YAHAWASHI, BaHa, QADASH. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops, double salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathens that look like the heathens, and to the Akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say shalom. This is your brother MALCHAAMAH in part 2 of the previous lesson. I really don't have a title for it yet, but I'm to the point where I'm reading about the people of Europe, because what you have to understand, Alexander of Macedonia, which you can catch that in the first episode if you missed it, the so-called white man, took over Europe. With the fall of Rome, the Rome went from being the pagan Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire. Rome was taken over by so-called Negroes. Negroes occupied all of Europe, and this letter that I'm going to read from Benjamin Franklin solidifies when we make that claim, because it's true. All right? You had a people called the Huguenots. All right, that's what they when Spain and Portugal fell, all right, and they fled there. Some went into slavery, some came to the Americas. They went out. Some went into Africa. All right, some came over here and actually ended up help setting up the 13 colonies originally. All right, But nevertheless, and they made up crypto Jews, secret Jews, Moors, and what the world calls Morenos. Okay? And they were all dark-complected people. And so the people of the Japhetic people who once lived and ruled all throughout Europe have been driven out, intermingled, mixed, sold into slavery, and driven out of their homelands. Most of them went to the islands of the Pacific. All right. But let us read in this observation concerning the increase of mankind, 1751. And it's like a long letter that Benjamin Franklin wrote. All right. So I'm going to go toward the end of it. And then I'm going to try to bring it to, I'm going to start at the second to last paragraph. All right. And it reads, and since departments of the English from Britain sent to America, we have their places at home so soon to supply the increase so largely here, why should the Palatine Boers be suffered to swarm into the settlements and the herding together establish their language and their manners and their manners to the exclusion of ours? We should, Pennsylvania, founded by the English, all right, become a colony of, why should the Pennsylvania founded by the English, all right, become a colony of aliens who would shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of us Anglifying them? So he's admitting that the people in Germany were dark. All right. And I'm going to prove that in a second as I keep reading. All right. And then he's lying because they're not the Anglo-Saxons. They're not the angelic sons of Isaac. That's a lie. All right. But it says, and will never adopt our language or our customs any more than they can acquire our complexion. So what does that tell you? Well, we know what Benjamin Franklin looks like. What he's telling you, that the Germans didn't look like that. They didn't have his complexion. They had more like the complexion that you're looking at on the screen. And we're going to prove it in his own writings. Why is this never taught in school? Okay. This is paragraph 24. Which leads me to add one remark. The number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All of Africa is black or tawny. All right. Asia is chiefly tawny. All right. America exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. He just told you that all of America was black or tawny. The natives were dark like the images you see on the screen. All right. They got lightened up over rape, robbery, and murder over the centuries. Okay. These are the words of Benjamin Franklin, one of your great American heroes. Okay. And in Europe, the Spaniards and Italians, the French, the Russians, and the Swedes are generally of what we call swarthy complexion. All right. As are the Germans, also the Saxons only accepted. So he's lying. So he's telling that the Germans were dark and the Saxons, well, guess what? The Anglo-Saxons were dark too, because they were now claiming that heritage. Okay. It says, who with the French make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. I can wish their numbers were increased. And while we are, as I may call it, scouring our planet by clearing America of woods and so making the side of the globe reflect the brighter light to the eyes of the inhabitants in Mars or Venus, why should we, in the sight of the superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America? Because they weren't Africans, the people that were in Europe, the dark people in Europe. They were not Africans, they were Israelites. All right? He's admitting that dark in all the places, Russia, Germany, And all throughout Europe, the Spaniards, the Italians, they were all dark. If you look at the book Color Nature Knows No Color Line, as a matter of fact, let me grab it. Let's grab it. And others too. I also have, what's this one called? Right, Sex and Race. Kind of show you in this one too. Bring it over, I may or may not use it. But in Nature Knows No Color Line, this cuts them so bad. This book. You have to go back and reread these books. You know. Let's look at this. Ancient Greeks. These are the Greeks during the time of the around 400 BC, during the time of the Spartans. Why? Because Jake had taken over. That image right there is showing you how Greeks went from being dark flesh to pale people. That's what that relic it represents. Also in this book, Nature Knows No Color Line, it begins to show you the coats of arms. All right. The coats of arms is all the places he just mentioned. All right. See, and this, so these are Anglo-Saxons here. It's not showing them as pale. See, he's a liar. Okay. And some of these coats of arms are still around if you look for them. But here's some more. Coats of arms. Here we go. He just talked about these people. Coats of arms of French, Dutch, Belgian families with their names. Those are the coats of arms of the Negro royalties that were royal families that were all throughout Europe. All right. That's why the current people that are there, they proclaim themselves the new royalty. You see? So we've been lied to about everything. All right. Because he didn't mention any of this in his Hebrews to Negroes. All right. But we, the real teachers of Israel, we've been telling you all along. All right. French, Italian, Spanish families matching up perfectly with the letter that was written by Benjamin Franklin. Okay. So now that we've done that, that was actually enough on that. Let us now go to these definitions. He said swarthy, that Europe, these people were swarthy. So let's look, and tawny. All right, so we're going to look up swarthy. Here's the definition. All right, from the same said book, the Winston Simplified. Let's bring it into focus so you can screenshot it and put it in your phone. Swarthy. All right, dark black or of darkest dusky color, dark skinned, swarthiness. King James, as a matter of fact, the Scots were referred to as the swarthy hordes of Scott. All right, of Scotland, the swarthy hordes of Scotland. All right, so, you know, this man lies. So now let's look up tawny, because he told you that all of America was swarthy or tawny. All right, damn it, Slovakia. Put it down. I'll jack the camera up. Slovakia. Book kind of slipped out my hand and bumped the camera. There we go. All right. There we go. Tawny. Let's bring that into focus. Let me not knock the camera over this time. Come on now. It's nothing but Satan, boy. There it is. Tawny. Tan. All right. You see that? The tan color. Yellowish brown. It's brown. A light skin. I'm kind of tawny. Yellowish brown. All right. Hold on, it said, let's go to tan. Because it said, you know, so let's go to tan and see what tan says. All right. The bark of an oak, willow, hamlet, chestnut, or other trees containing tannic. All right, broken. Oh, there we go. Number 3. Brown given to skin. All right. So He said of the whole of America and all of Europe. So when we tell you that Negroes were ruling all of Europe, they were, until Esau took it all over. So all those people in Lithuania, Poland, you know, and all those Eastern European places, the people in Scotland and Ireland, you know, and in Britain, Belarus, they came in all after the fact. That was the rise of Esau Edom during the Renaissance. He got back control over. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. It was his time to rule, and now his time is up. All right. And the last thing we need is men like this who actually work for Esau Edom. Okay. He even looked like he's saying the duh, damn D. You know, putting out these false doctrines that benefit Esau Edom, trying to hide behind that Japhetic lie. All right. So with that, you know, I hope this was an edifying lesson. Call HALAL YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI QADASH. Wa ababa bal kwam yasarala shalom.